Thanks for clicking play and welcome to another video in my Ford Transit Minibus Campervan conversion series. Today we're going to be fitting a Fiamma roof vent. I did previously fit a Fiamma turbo vent in another video, which you can see in the top right hand corner. Everything was going smoothly until toward the end I messed it up a bit, but it's fitted, it's sealed, it's not leaking. Because of that, I've got a lot more confidence with this one. So this video should be a lot quicker, a lot simpler, but I'm sure I'll find a way to mess it up. Let's get into it. Now, as you can see, there's a bit of a difference in box size. These are supposed to be exactly the same size vents, so every fitting method should be exactly the same. But the different box size is worrying, so let's open it up and check that out. Okay, so everything is the same size. There's a lot less packaging. I guess on the motorised one, they needed to put more around it because there's a lot more weight, including the motor. The underside is slightly different, but that's to be expected because the other one's got a docking big motor in the middle. But everything else, like around the fitting section, seems identical. So the first stage is making a wooden frame to support it from the underneath. Last time when I was making my wooden frame, I cut my pieces of wood to size thinking I was being clever, but it just took ages. So this time, I bought a piece of wood. It's 34mm by 44mm. There's two sizes you've got to pay attention to when making your wooden frame. One is the actual width of your vent. Now, I did see a video where the wood was that skinny that the screws went either side of where the wood had been placed, so he had to build up the wood from the sides to get the screws in. The second measurement is where your roof lining is going to meet. You want it to be deep enough that when you're putting your roof lining on, that it matches up perfectly. I'm still not 100% sure what I'm doing with my roof lining yet, so if it isn't deep enough, I'm just going to layer up some very thin veneers of wood to space it out to make sure it meets correctly and looks nice. Your wooden frame ends up getting hidden, so there's no point in doing any fancy joinery. If you want to, that's down to you, but I'm just gonna do a basic square so I can get this done and onto the van. Okay, so the Fiamma vent is just under 39 centimeters. It's actually 38.6. So you wanna make your frame inside measurement 39 by 39. So we're going to do two 39cm battens and then two that extend either side, which would be 39 plus 4. So there should be two at 47.8. Alright, so the wooden pieces are cut. I've just put them on my right angle jigs. These are cheap right angle jigs and they are just rubbish. I just checked them and some of them aren't even square, so that took me quite a while. Anyway, don't buy cheap tools. I'm going to use pocket holes, but this is a cheap pocket hole jig, so I don't know how well it's going to turn out. Again, don't buy cheap tools. Well, that's a piece of crap. So we're not using pocket holes. Just going to go back to traditional. Make a space, put a screw in from the sides. The frame's going to get hidden anyway. As long as it's a square, it's fine. Okay, so I'm going to use these things. They look like they're about 1.5 inches. They don't go into the wood there. So we're going to recess a hole so that it can go to about there. There we go, nice and square. Well, not perfectly square, but it's getting covered over, so I've got to ignore that fact. And I would like to point out, I am aware my workshop is an absolute mess. That's because I did a video learning how to sculpt recently and made my friends a very hilarious gift. If you want to watch that video, it'll be in the top corner there. Anyway, time to get to the van and start prepping. It's noisy today. Before we do anything, we're going to check the frame fits on the fan. You know what, that's a bit tight, but it works. I'm alright with that. Another thing that makes sense is giving the vent a clean before you start applying the mastic or whatever it's called, just to make sure you've got 100% of the bond. I'm going to be cleaning it with this isopropyl alcohol stuff. Yeah, this is awesome. So I'm currently converting a Ford Transit Mark 7 minibus, and because of that I've got a really flat area at the back, which is quite lucky because that's where the vent's going to go this time. Last time I had to go around the ridges, so I used the mastic tape to layer it up before I put the vent on. This time I'm just going to go straight on with the Sikaflex because it's a nice flat area, so I don't need to layer anything up. Now because it's flat I don't have to worry about where I'm positioning it. As long as it's nice and straight I should be fine. I've just got to make sure I avoid that last roof rail and things should go smoothly. Famous last words. So I'm just going to drill straight from the outside using the frame as my measurement and then chop it, stick it and go from there. Alright, so next we put in 4 holes in the roof so that we can get the jigsaw blade in. So you've got to make sure that your drill bit is as wide as the jigsaw blade, otherwise it's not going to go in. And as last time, I'm going to layer up the holes rather than going for one big hole. So 3 or 4 small holes getting bigger each time. God, it's warm out there. So the red oxide primer is going to need some time to dry. Whilst it's drying, I'm going to attach the wooden frame because it's not going to touch the paint. So we're going to get some Sikaflex, put a few lines on that, hold it in position, put a few clamps there and leave them both to dry for about an hour. And then next it's fitting the vent. Ooh. Given it about an hour, so everything should be about dry now, so it's time to drop the roof vent in. Now last time I dropped the roof vent straight in and used these self-drilling screws, and it pushed the wooden frame off. So this time I'm going to put the roof vent on, drill a couple of small pilot holes. I'm going to prop the frame up from the inside as well.
I will be the greatest that you ever seen before. eternal.
So the vent's been one of the nicest jobs where, just because I haven't messed anything up, I wasn't going to go for a second vent, but I decided to cover my back windows. So the second vent actually gives me quite a lot of light. One slight issue was the metal filings. No matter how much I cleaned and hoovered up, there was still metal filings, and those tiny metal filings will cause rust on your roof, so I'm going to have to fix that at some point. But apart from that, jobs are good and everything's in. As you can see, I'm making more progress with my van. That's why the videos are slightly delayed. Hopefully I can start getting a few more videos out a bit quicker and I can finish my van and go away in it. Anyway, as usual, any questions, suggestions or tips, put them in the comments below and I will see you in the next video.
It's best to know when it's over.